Hey, how's it going, everybody? Hope you're doing well. Tony here. Just wanted to go over a little bit of my thoughts here on Bitcoin and see where we're at. So, right away, I think the first thing we have to look here is the worst case scenario. And right now, with this move up here in Bitcoin, this is getting a little bit alarming as far as just the extension of it and everything like that. So, I have two counts here. Again, the more cautious and conservative count to kind of look at, and what I usually like to go off of if I'm trading anything, I usually try and go off the more of the conservative count. So what I'm looking at here on the right, this one right here, this is kind of the more conservative count. And it's right now it's saying that we're pretty much at the end here of this move up down here from 38.6. We got an extension in the fifth, and eventually here we're going to get a very swift move, and this trend is going to be done. So from right here, again, we could just be going sideways because this could turn into something else completely, and eventually we're just going to drop down here nice and quick. Now, the only thing that's really preventing me from nailing this in is that we don't have that swift move down yet that would actually take us down back to 50K. That could still happen eventually, but right now, for the extension theory here, the extended fifth wave, and you can see here, down here at the EWO, we have a lot more volume, a lot more momentum here in this move up that happened last week, at the end of last week, than we do at this move up over here. So that would lead me to believe or to question, to think maybe this is an extended fifth wave here, and eventually we're just going to tumble down. We haven't done that yet. We're going sideways. So that's kind of brings into question if this really is, the end of the move up for now, or if we're just going sideways here a little bit more before we move up for another move. Eventually, though, after all the euphoria dies down and we all kind of see what's going on, we are going to have to come back and make some kind of correction. Well, we don't have to, but eventually, this is in my thoughts here as far as this correction goes. Because I'm through this whole thing, I think we have some degree kind of discrepancies or questions of degree comes up throughout this whole move up. This move right here is a little bit smaller than this, depending on how you count it. Again, it's all on how you count it. Right now, I'm counting this as a flat, and this is a flat. I'm going more off of like my ideal count here. And I know that's not the conservative way, but right now I'm kind of going off of that just until I get some more clues up here and something where we can kind of base and get another anchor off of these. But right now, this looks like a larger degree to me than this does, just in time. I know some people like to fluctuate between their fours. Wave 2 can be huge, wave 4 can be small. I don't like to do that too much unless we get like a super swift move down that kind of compares to this wave, a sideways wave 2. So what isn't made up in price is made up in time. Based off this, eventually we're either going to get kind of a swift move down as a wave 4, or we could do symmetrical triangle or contracting triangle to kind of offset this degree here, and then we have this smaller degree here. So right now it's looking pretty good because of we don't have anything comparable to this yet. So eventually, potentially, we're going to be looking for corrections that are going to offset these corrections. And that hasn't happened yet over here. When we look even at the smaller time frames, this is kind of where I'm going back and forth. Right now I have these kind of squared off. So this little guy right here, if this is the whole correction here, if this is a 1-2, like in this situation, this 4 is comparable in size or comparable. Right now, we haven't fulfilled that metric up here quite yet. So again, it's obviously going to come all down to today. I'm thinking like either today or at the open of futures, like something could go a little nutty there, or overnight, or in the morning, because that seems to be when a lot of this stuff is happening. So that's what I'm thinking about as far as timing, is how this progresses up to then. Right now we're looking good. I mean, we could go up. We got a couple hours till futures turns on, so we could go up, and that could be the juice that pushes us up to wherever it wants to go. If we get that juice and we're coming down here, I'd be looking for this area around 56, 55. We got a nice little structure there we could hang out on. And then the next area would be 50K. So that's what I'm thinking for this count here if we're done. If not, again, it comes down to the degree discrepancies that I'm seeing or like the questions that I have. You guys may have it nailed down. I'm still kind of going back and forth. So this could be a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and then this 4 right here is just for this 2 right here. So right now we're in a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're doing the 4 to offset this little guy down here. And this, it's about the same size. Like we had to go pretty quick here. If we keep extending to the right here, then I'm gonna have to go back and kind of think like, how is this going on? Because right now we have 5 waves up with 2 corrections in between. So we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have what we're looking for, a typical 5-wave move up. You know, if this does go up to a new high, we're gonna have to try and figure out, well, why did it do that? And that's one way I'm kind of thinking that we could dig our way out or, you know, make sense of the situation is that this is actually the 3 just finishing up here, and we're going to be putting in the 4 for one more move up before we do a larger correction, potentially a larger correction to offset this. Now, of course, we could get, this is a pretty big corrective move. This is some sideways here. This is almost a month long. You know, we're coming up to the halving, all that fun stuff. So we could do something like that. We could be putting in another smaller degree correction, and this is just the start of a whole nother thing. So if we make a smaller degree correction to this, then that again could be a whole nother set of 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You know, you can get as crazy as you want, but we're gonna have to see some things kind of offsetting these larger corrections to nail things down to know exactly where we are in the count. So that's what I'm kind of looking for on that side. Now, the other thing that kind of coincides with this count here is we're at the all-time high. We're right here. We're correcting right underneath it. So there's 2 things that I'm kind of looking for here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can kind of see what's going on. Yeah, so right now we got this was the previous all-time high, and then this is the all-time high, 69K. So what I'm kind of thinking we're going to do, and if we pop it here, that's awesome, but we're going to pop and drop. Here, if this does complete as a triangle, well, if we get a PTT or a nice thrust move up, we could just be a swift move up and then a swift move down. This also is very telling if this happens at an all-time high or at a pivot high. This happens quite a bit where you'll pop this pivot high and then you'll have to come back down and retrace back in, or that's it, game over, price, you know, price just wanted to get to that certain level and then turn around on you. And that could be what happens here. So we have 2 kind of indicators here that, okay, there is a possibility, of course, always caveat, there's always a potential possibility of this or that, but that we're going to get a pop and drop here, back down underneath, maybe come down, revisit some of these lower levels before we move up either further. Maybe we get the corrections like the ones that are further down behind us, or that, you know, that's it and we head back down. But just because we have these pivots here, we have a triangle-ish kind of forming right here, I think that's good enough reason to suspect that we're just going to get a pop-up, and then we're just going to drop down, come back down, and find some retracement up in here. So that's kind of my main idea here for that. Of course, we could just pop and just keep running. So again, if we do get the pop, the 1618 up here is going to be kind of the ideal location or the most likely target. If this is a wave 2 right here, I have this as a potential wave 2. If this is a 2 off of that larger degree correction down here, that move there to here, up to here, this is the 618, which is a most likely target for a wave 3. And that's where I'm looking for sure, up at 72.55. That'd be an ideal location if this wants to pop and go to there right away and just knock out all this, you know, conjecture and everything and just kill it, stay up there. and then do some kind of correction to offset this up here. I'll be happy with that. But for right now, I think maybe because it could be one of the worst or one of the bad situations where we just do a pop, we do a drop, we might drop down pretty fast and hard. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff potentially hiding behind here. I know everyone's Super Bowl on all this stuff, but there might be somebody up here, some big money holder ready to sell, and we're going to get some stuff dumped on us. But again, we don't know for sure until it actually happens. That's just kind of my plan. So I'll be taking profits on some of my shorter term trades up in this area before we even get to this level. And then I'll be holding on for that potential for us to just moon up. All right. So those are the kind of two things I'm looking for here. Always going to be flexible and adjustable. See what the waves give me. This isn't an all-in for me, so if it pops up, or if it doesn't even pop up, if it comes back on me, I'm going to cry a little bit, move on to the next trade. All right, that's all I got for now. Appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, just let me know. Later.